The headlines today say that a $1,000 car loan has become the new normal. More than 15% of new car buyers have signed up for these four-figure monthly payments. You see these videos everywhere on social media lately. People are being asked about their monthly car payments. One person says $1,600, another says $1,700. It feels quite overwhelming. In this video, we are going to look deeply into what kind of car you can actually afford at different income levels. I want to talk about three main salary ranges. Today, we will look at earning $40,000, $80,000, and $150,000 a year. Many car dealers will try to convince you that you can afford a car that is way beyond your reach. They do this by simply stretching out the loan term. Right now, the average car loan in the country is 69 months. The data shows that if your credit score is lower, you are even more likely to be offered a longer loan. Interest rates are also going up. This means the cost of borrowing money for a car is much higher than it used to be. I want to share some gentle rules for buying a car and some ways to save on your expenses. We will also talk about whether it is better to buy or to lease. Finally, I will give you specific numbers for those three salary ranges I mentioned earlier. Let us start with the first guideline, which is the 35% rule. This rule suggests that the total price of your car should not be more than 35% of your gross annual income. So, if you earn $40,000, your car should cost no more than $14,000. If you earn $80,000, your car price should stay under $28,000. If you earn $150,000, your limit would be $52,500. To be honest, this 35% rule is actually quite aggressive. It is really meant for people who truly love cars and consider them a major part of their joy. If you just want something reliable to get you from one place to another, I suggest being a bit more gentle with your budget. Perhaps you could look at a 20% or 25% rule instead. I personally believe 25% is a much better balance. It allows you to have a car that is comfortable and safe without putting too much pressure on your future. If you remember only one thing from our chat today, let it be this 25% rule. The 35% one can feel a bit too heavy for most of us. In the next part, we will talk about monthly payments and what your goals should be. However, focusing on the actual purchase price is what truly matters in the long run. Another thing that matters is staying informed about the world around us. I have a free newsletter that covers financial news in a very simple and calm way. If you feel like reading it, the link is right down there for you. Now, let us talk about a very famous guideline called the 24-10 rule. The first part of this rule is about the down payment. It suggests putting down 20% of the car price right at the start. If the car costs $30,000, that means saving up $6,000 before you buy. The reason for this is to make your life much easier as you pay off the loan later. Having that cash up front shows that you are ready for the responsibility of owning the vehicle. If you borrow the full amount, you might run into some trouble. Let me explain why this happens. Imagine you buy a car for $25,000 and you take out a loan for the whole amount. After 1 year, that car will likely lose about 20% of its value. Cars lose value very quickly, which we call depreciation. So, at the end of the year, your car might only be worth $20,000. If you wanted to sell it then, you would only get $20,000 back. But your loan balance would still be higher than that. This means you owe more than the car is worth, which is a stressful place to be. Paying 20% up front helps you stay ahead of that drop in value. Depreciation is one of the biggest hidden costs of owning a car. I often say that buying a car is like putting your hard-earned money into something that is slowly shrinking. A very smart choice is to look for a car that is 3 to 5 years old by that time. Most of the big drops in value have already happened. Now, let us look at the next part of the rule, which is the number 4. This means your car loan should not last longer than 4 years. 4 years is a healthy limit because it keeps your monthly payments manageable. It also ensures you own the car fully before it gets too old. If you stretch a loan to 5, 6, or even 7 years, you end up giving so much extra money to the bank in interest. For a $30,000 car, a 4-year loan might cost you about $2,500 in interest. But if you stretch it to 6 years, that cost jumps to over $3,800. That is $1,300 that could have stayed in your pocket for your own dreams. I think a big problem we face is the social pressure to drive something fancy. The math of a long loan can be very tempting. On a 4-year loan, you might pay $550 a month. On a 6-year loan, that same car might only cost $380 a month. This is how people end up buying cars they cannot truly afford. You might see two people at a cafe. One drives a luxury car and the other drives a simple sedan. They might both be paying $500 a month. The difference is that the person in the simple sedan will be finished with their loan much sooner. The person in the luxury car might be tied to that debt for many more years. Please do not fall into that trap. The final part of the rule is the number 10. This means all your monthly car costs should be less than 10% of your gross monthly income. This includes your loan payment, your insurance, and your maintenance. While it does not include fuel, you should still keep gas money in your overall budget. Let us look at some simple math for different salaries. A quick way to check this is to divide your annual salary by 120. That gives you your maximum monthly budget for everything related to the car. For someone earning $40,000, that budget is $333. For $80,000, it is $666, and for $150,000, it is $1,250. Now, just because the math says you can afford a certain amount, does it mean you should spend it all? Probably not. We should always be gentle and careful with what we choose to spend. The less you spend on a car, the more you have for things that actually grow over time. You could invest that extra money in the market or save it for a home of your own. Those things give you real peace of mind and security. You might ask why we aim for 10%. Why not 15 or 20%? The goal is to leave plenty of room in your life for other things that matter. We want to make sure you have enough for emergencies, for travel, or for a nice dinner with friends. Keeping car costs low helps you maintain that balance. Now, let us talk about the big question of buying versus leasing. Leasing can make sense if you really love having a new car every few years. It usually offers lower monthly payments and requires very little money up front. If you own a small business, there might be some tax benefits too. However, leasing comes with limits on how much you can drive. If you go over those miles, the fees can be quite high. At the end of 3 years, you have to give the car back, and you have nothing to show for all that money. For most of us, buying and keeping a car for a long time is the path to true financial health. If you decide to buy, should you pay in cash or take a loan? Paying in full feels wonderful because you never have to worry about a monthly bill. It gives you a sense of freedom and peace. If you do not enjoy investing your money, paying cash is a great way to avoid interest charges. But if you are someone who likes to grow your wealth, a loan might actually be a better tool. This is because of something called opportunity cost. If you spend $25,000 in cash today, that money is gone. If you put 20% down and keep the rest, you have $20,000 to invest. If you put that money into a broad market fund that grows over time, it could become much more valuable. It could grow into a very large sum that supports your retirement. Of course, life is not just about perfect math, but it is good to see the possibilities. I want to share 3 simple tips to help you save money on your car. First, please shop around for your insurance. Insurance companies are always looking for new customers and will often give you a better deal if you ask. Just making a few phone calls could save you over $100 every month. The second tip is one we already touched on, which is buying a used car. A 3-year-old car is often still in great condition but costs much less than a brand new one. The third tip is to look at the total cost of owning the vehicle. Some cars are very cheap to buy but very expensive to fix. Luxury cars often have very high maintenance costs that can surprise you later on. You might find 2 cars that cost the same today, but one will cost you $20,000 more over 5 years. It is always worth doing a little bit of research on repair costs before you sign anything. After hearing all this, you might feel a little sad about what you can truly afford. But the truth is that many people are spending far more than they should. The average price of a new car has climbed so high that it requires a very high salary to follow these rules. Most people are stretching themselves too thin just to drive a certain brand. If you can stick to these healthy limits, you are doing something amazing for your future self. You should feel very proud of that choice. It shows that you value your peace and your freedom more than a piece of metal in the driveway. If you are interested in how to calculate lease costs, I have more information for you below. I hope these thoughts help you feel more confident about your next steps. If you found this helpful, it would mean a lot if you could like this video and join our little community here. Do not forget to check out our newsletter for more gentle financial thoughts. Thank you for spending this time with me. I will see you in our next conversation. Goodbye for now.